Hi, my name is Michael, and you're about to learn why the stories you love are garbage. And today we are going to talk about Barbie. Now, that's a movie that I wanted to love. A toy in a real human world? That stuff is right up my alley. So let's start by listing what's good about that movie. Number one, Margot Robbie was born to play stereotypical Barbie. No questions here, she's a good actress and also looks the part. Perfect. Number two, related to this, the joke about Robbie's looks. You know.
Note to the filmmakers.
Number three, speaking of jokes, the one about the Supreme Court. I think these days it also doubles as wishful thinking. Unfortunately, it's right next to this.
I do not have a vagina.
That, just now, was the first example of what's bad about that movie, and let me tell you, this cesspool is deep. It started small though. The first time I've got a feeling that something isn't right was this moment. At this point, I didn't know much about neither Gosling nor Robbie. I said before that she's a good actress, but I'm not a crazy fan. I don't follow her Instagram, for example, or hide in the bushes outside her house with binoculars. You know, that kind of stuff. And I'm not a fan of Gosling at all. I think he's an okay actor, but no more. But at this point, I could not help but say, man, he's old. I checked IMDb later, and indeed, Gosling is about a decade older than Robbie. Again, I didn't know it at the time, but I just saw it on the screen. To clarify, I don't have anything against on-screen romance with a large age gap. Venice had Jodie Whittaker pursued by Peter O'Toole, 50 years her senior, and it managed to be much more touching than creepy. But these two are not just an abstract romantic couple, and it's hard to imagine Ken being noticeably older than Barbie. Maybe Gosling would be a fine Ken with a different Barbie, but we already established that Robbie is the perfect casting here, so... Now, at this point, Barbie and Ken have a clear objective. They need to find a girl who is playing with Barbie in some weird way, causing trouble. This is not a bad premise, and the twist that it's the adult Astrid herself and not her daughter isn't a bad idea either. The problem is that it's not actually what the movie is about. In fact, while Barbie does find the right girl, the second part, convincing her to stop, is just kind of forgotten. And after that, the movie struggles to give Astrid and her daughter something to do. The former gets to talk some sense into the brainwashed Barbies, and the latter is just there. She doesn't do anything, she just clings to her mother, who herself basically clings to Barbie. But that happens later, so let's rewind for now. Barbie visits the headquarters of Mattel Corporation, finds out that its president is Sherlock Holmes, and oh my god, what is this? Now, I do know this is kind of actor illusion. Surprisingly, this is not how actor illusion should be done. This is how. Which is a reference to... An actor illusion shouldn't hurt the movie if it's not immediately recognized. Just putting random stuff where it has no business to be is not actor illusion, it's idiocy. Actually, let me pause for a second and discuss a major missed opportunity here. Of course, not every opportunity has to be taken and not every route explored, but here it's so obvious, it's painful. When I saw those pink dildos stuck to the Holmes' hands, I thought, he is a doll. He is a doll that escaped from Barbieland and now pretends to be a human being, but he can't get rid of something that is a permanent part of him as a doll, if that makes sense. And in maintaining his cover, he actually overdoes it and is more harsh on dolls than necessary. That would be an interesting twist, but unfortunately, it's not what happens. Well, Barbie escapes. There is a scene with Mattel Man trying to capture her, which was probably envisioned as funny but comes off as stupid. Again, none of those men are dolls, And people outside of Mattel act more or less like we'd expect normal people to act, so why does it change suddenly? And then we come to the scene that infuriated me and made me seriously suspect Greta Gerwig suffered a stroke while working on the screenplay, because there is no way she's that incompetent. Barbie gets into a car, Astrid drives away, there are two black vans following with Mattel men chasing after them, and then Astrid just escapes. Like, what? That's it? Let me talk about some general principles for a sec. There is a common pattern in good, interesting, engaging scenes. What actually makes them good, interesting, and engaging is failure. That's what we, the viewers or readers, actually want. We want to see characters failing. Complete success might work, not always, for the very end of the story, but everything before has to feature a failure of some character we already care about. It doesn't mean the hero of the story should constantly trip over their own feet. It can be partial failure when the hero, say, slays a monster, but suffers some minor setback.
I'm putting my life on the line battling the undead. Look, I broke a nail, okay? I'm wearing a press-on.
Or it can be a failure of a villain. But it can't be a random mook. It has to be a villain we love to hate at this point. So, how can we apply this theory to that chase scene? Let's say we don't want our heroes to get captured. So, the first option would be for Astrid to successfully escape from Mattel Men, but crash into a lamppost in the process. That might actually provide a better motivation for them to hide in the Barbie Land, since without a vehicle their chances of not being caught aren't great. Now, the second option would be to show the failure of Mattel Men, but from their perspective. Ideally, we should see Astrid's car getting away from Holmes's point of view. And no, I don't care that your budget doesn't allow you to pay Holmes for that extra scene, okay? Of course, I'm not claiming either of these options would be perfect. I'm claiming either of them would be better. But what we get in the movie is a clean escape, which is completely unnecessary. Remove that scene and nothing will change at all. Moving on. Barbie and Astrid, and her daughter, get to the Barbie Land. They discover it was taken over by Kens. The plan they make, distract Kens long enough so they won't notice when the rug is pulled from under them, would make sense. They explain that plan in details, and it goes off, without a hitch. That's not how it's done. There is a principle called DRY, short for don't repeat yourself. If the plan is going to work, you don't need to show the characters discussing it. The viewers can figure out that what happened was exactly what should have, according to the plan. You only ever explain the plan if there is going to be a problem with it. Minor or major, whatever. Doing both is again unnecessary and boring. So, exactly as Barbie's planned, there is a rift between Kens that results in...
Arg.
I have so many questions, and none of them even remotely coherent. I mean, really, is this a pinnacle of toxic masculinity? And please don't tell me, oh, they couldn't show actual violence, it's a movie for little kids.
I do not have a vagina.
No, it's not. In fact, this movie is PG-13, while this... This is just PG. Anyway, the patriarchy is defeated, Holmes gets to Barbie Land to... Not really clear what is he there to do. Perhaps they were pressured by the actual Mattel to put fictional Mattel somewhere in the finale and make sure it's not seen as bad guys? That's the only explanation I can imagine, since Holmes' presence in Barbie Land is meaningless. And finally, Barbie has a conversation with a ghost of her creator, who eventually tells her, "You want to become human? Off you go then." The message here is perfect. You can be whatever you want, but get permission first. The conversation itself is fake philosophical and excruciatingly long. And here is the main problem with the movie, hidden in plain sight. Almost half of what was bad here has a reason. The meaningless chase scene, the over-explained plan, Holmes and Associates' trip to the Barbie land, that unbelievably stupid conversation at the end, all of that serves a purpose, and the purpose is to increase runtime. Yes, it's padding. The movie has enough story for maybe a 40 minutes TV episode, but it's stretched almost 3 times just to get to the place where it can be called a movie. It's a movie where content drowns in filler. It's a story that should have been great, that I wanted to be great, but that wasn't even kinda okay. And it's really sad. That's all I have to say. We'll see you next time. Bye.